course, because it is hoodie weather. Hoodie weather, wow. Hoodie weather. Of course, I put my hoodie on just to advertise this cool, chilly, late evening. Well, late night, of course. Now, because it's a little past 12:30 in the morning on a Friday night. But despite 12:30, I'm trying to give me a little energy because I'm in a little bit of a hyper mood. Very happy because I saw this spectacular. I watched SmackDown, which was exciting. We had some big exciting news in baseball tonight with Albert Pujols hitting his 700th home run. Yesterday was my birthday. Well, sorry, technically 2 days ago. Thursday was my birthday. Tonight, I'm having family and friends over for a game night. And also, I have the whole week off from work coming up. So, I'm on a nice, deserved vacation. So, I'm excited. I'm in a great mood. So, I'm going to try to see how many... I have 4 videos that I want to knock out tonight. I'm not going to have time to do the next Let's Play I wanted to do from my baseball special. But I will try to maybe at least review this show. Maybe SmackDown if I'm still have the energy. And 2 small videos I want to do too. So maybe 4 videos for this late Friday night. And then we will roll from there. So guys, what is going on? How y'all doing tonight? This is the Club of Demand 1993. How do I look for 29? Not too bad. I think I look pretty good for 29. Gosh, can't believe I'm 29 now. But I'm in a good mood. I'm in a very, very good mood. And because I saw some very fun wrestling, I thought. I mean, I was originally going to watch both Dynamite and Rampage. The only reason why I wanted to watch Rampage originally is because I thought that the Ring of Honor World title match was going to be on that show. It ended up not being, so I wasn't really as interested in Rampage as I originally was. So I ended up just watching Dynamite, the Dynamite version of Grand Slam. But I just read the results for Rampage, and I'll briefly, just breeze on those at the end of the episode. But again, I just watched Dynamite. Dynamite. This is my AEW Grand Slam 2022 live review. It took place this past Wednesday, September 21st, 2022. And tonight, for AEW Rampage, September 23rd, 2022. It was at the Arthur Ashe Stadium in Queens, New York. We had, I believe, 5 title matches that took place this past week on Dynamite. And when I read the results tonight, it sounds like we got a battle royale that happened for another number 1 contender. Even though MJF has the poker chip to cash in whenever he wants. I'm assuming they're going to be saving that match for Full Gear. For whoever is champion by then. And overall, look, there's controversy going on. They hit a big bump in the road with the meh build for All Out, which All Out still ended up being a good show. I know the media scrum, again, as I keep saying, still hurt the fallout for a lot of people. And yes, I'm still my heart's still broken from it. I don't want to see CM Punk go, but I also understand why he has to go. I'm hearing a lot of heavier rumors that it looks like he's not going to be coming back to AEW even after his injuries cleared up, which would be sad if that happened, but it's frustrating. But my thing is during that time, when the build was iffy for All Out, and even with the media scrum, I started feeling like it was AEW was showing signs of what NXT was showing when they started, losing its rhythm a little bit during the pandemic era. But I just still feel like, especially after these past couple shows, there was some stuff that did happen at All Out that was still good. There's been some stuff that's happened ever since All Out that's been good. I still think personally right now AEW is staying afloat. And honestly, I love I loved Grand Slam. I mean, the Dynamite version I saw. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I think we had two really huge moments, a career-defining moment for a tag team, and a big, 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 big surprise that made me so happy. That honestly almost drove me to tears. I was that happy for, when a certain moment happened. And of course, I tweeted to this certain person tonight, actually. Was hoping she would like the tweet. She did not. But, it is what it is. I can't always, get what I want. But I was so happy. I mean, the main event, the results, I will say, didn't quite, wasn't quite in my favor for the main event. I do kind of somewhat understand why they chose with, who they went with, though. Even though I feel like they made it kind of obvious from last week's episode of Dynamite. But I will talk about it. I still thought the match was great, especially some of the near falls in the match, in my opinion. But we will roll in and talk about the show, because again, there is still other stuff I want to try to cover tonight. But again, I might get the sleepy spell, which is why, I got hyper and, got energetic for this. Then I'll take a break and take a shower after this. Maybe, so 2 things are live, 2 things are recorded. Maybe I will do 1 live, 1 recorded, take my shower, well, that wouldn't quite make sense, though. Would it? Especially with the order it happens. Yeah, I'm not going to go that way. No, maybe I'll stream, shower, record, live, record. That's what I'll do. Got it? Okay. Let's see if we can do that tonight. But first, we'll check the live chat, and we've got Tyler. He gave the show a C. He thought SmackDown was boring. Jarrett should have won the tournament for the AEW title. He did not, but he actually won another title that I was surprised about at first. But I wonder if there's a reason why they did, which I'll explain, of course. Let me see here. He still thinks AEW is full of their egos. He thinks 2022 has sucked for AEW. His sister Danielle got married today. Very nice. Congratulations. He just did his SmackDown review also before this stream. Nice. Thank you, as always, Tyler, for showing up at these streams and being a loyal fan, even if you're not the biggest fan of AEW. And I totally understand. You're fine. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I cannot, overlook stuff that makes me excited. Stuff that makes me happy. And I'm not just trying to look like, AEW and WWE with rose-colored glasses and whatnot. But again, both shows are doing some things right. Both shows are also doing some things wrong. It's not that neither shows are perfect. But I like what I see right now. And that's good. Because a few months ago, especially, of course, during certain eras, I was losing my fandom. I was losing my passion. If it wasn't for Triple H taking over or AEW, wrestling streams may have ended a long time ago for me. I'm dead serious. So I was really losing that much interest. And yes, the media scrum hurt too, but you know what? Again, these past few weeks have shown, AEW does not need a CM Punk to succeed. They do not need a Kenny Omega. They don't need the Young Bucks to succeed. They have the talent there. And again, Jon Moxley said it all. There are people that are still there to entertain us. And he's right. He is absolutely right. So let's roll in and talk about this show. Also, Tyler says he thinks CM Punk should be ashamed of himself. I understand why he's frustrated, but again, I think he should have kept some things himself. And I think also he let out what he needed to let out on the media scrum, but he kept going on and on. I'm sorry. I just don't want to keep dwelling on it. I don't want to keep talking about it. Because I don't want to keep going back and forth circles with it. I just want to focus on, again, right now, what I'm enjoying right now. And again, that is Grand Slam. I thought was an excellent show. I thought, in my opinion. A lot of great things happened, I thought, this show. Some of the stuff could have been better, but I think what really stood out to me about the show, again, was the moments in this show. So let's roll in and let's talk about it. And of course, after I review the Dynamite portion, I will briefly read over the results from the Rampage edition, which was a special 2 hours, by the way. But I think it was pre-taped, as far as I know. Anyways, we opened up with the Ring of Honor World Title match with Chris Jericho and Claudio Castagnoli, the champion currently at the time. Again, I thought at first I had read that this was going to be on Rampage, which was why I first was going to watch the Rampage edition, but when it wasn't, I'm like, I'm good. But this was a good match. However, though, I thought that they were going to have Claudio retain. I thought, okay, Chris Jericho would be a good person for Claudio to retain over. Nope. Whenever the referee was distracted in the corner, Chris Jericho seemingly, wasn't able to put down Castagnoli, low-blowed Castagnoli, and hit the Judas effect, and Chris Jericho is a Ring of Honor World Champion. By the way, there's been a lot of people posting on Twitter or even on a special Facebook page. Chris Jericho is doing the 8 sign because I believe he became an 8-time world champion in this match by winning the Ring of Honor World Title. And people keep joking around saying that it's from the Seinfeld episode, The Van Buren Boys, and he's putting up the Van Buren sign. I'm not sure. I don't think that's what he intended, of course, but of course it is a funny comparison. Actually, also during this match, there was a time where Jericho actually hid behind former Ring of Honor ambassador and owner Kerry Silken at one point to cheat. There was also a code breaker in mid-air that he had hit on Castagnoli. So good action, but Jericho won. Afterwards, of course, the Jericho Society got to celebrate, and then Daniel Garcia was slightly reluctant to join, but then he high-fived Jericho. Anyways, obviously showing there's still some tension there between the two of them. Yeah, at first I was like, what the hell? Because they only gave Claudio a 2-month reign with that title. However, though, I'm wondering, and a lot of people are wondering this too, did they do this because Ring of Honor may have gotten a TV deal? And of course, they wanted a big match for their next pay-per-view after if they would get a TV deal, this is a good way to kind of hook them in, have a story with Jericho and Castagnoli. That's what a lot of people think that's why Chris Jericho won the Ring of Honor World Title. And if so, I can understand that. And maybe, again, I'm not, like I said, I would love to, of course, keep up with, other wrestling companies, but for something different. But again, I just can't do it. I don't have the time. But I think that, if they really are trying to, if Tony Khan really is trying to get Ring of Honor, a TV deal or whatnot, I think, it'll be a genius, well, not cool, genius, but it was some of a smart idea to get a legend like Chris Jericho to kind of be someone to help capture the audience. Because yes, Claudio Castagnoli, don't get me wrong, is popular as hell. As I keep saying, the most underutilized wrestler, I would say, in the past decade. Him being world champion should have happened 2014 or 2015. That is the earliest they should have put the world title on Castagnoli. And of course, they never did. It was cardinal sin until WrestleMania Backlash 2021 to give Claudio Castagnoli, formerly known as Cesaro, a world title shot. Why was it a crime? I have no idea. And yeah, he wins the title just to get a 2-month reign. But like I said, this may have been just a setup. Again, Jericho did cheat. He didn't beat Castagnoli clean. So again, this could have been a way to help set up a feud for a possible TV deal for Ring of Honor if it happens, because they'll need some sort of a selling point, and if that's why they did that, that's fine. Of course, another reason why they probably may have done it too is to have a way, get, a little more momentum behind the Jericho Appreciation Society. Even though I still don't think there's much difference there besides, all but Santana and Ortiz and freaking 2.0. Yeah, I'm just still not digging it at all whatsoever. But we'll see where this goes, of course. Like I said, I understand why they did it. I mean, yes, I was bummed. I was hoping Cash Tannoy would have had a longer reign, but maybe further down the line. Someday, though, I definitely want to see the AEW World Title on him, though. And I still think when that happens, a feud that needs to happen for that AEW World Title is Cash Tannoy and Keith Lee, which would be absolutely fantastic, of course. But that's how we opened the show. Speaking of Keith Lee, we then had the rematch from AEW All Out. Swerve in Our Glory, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus Anthony Bowens and Max Caster of the Acclaimed. So obviously this was a very highly anticipated rematch. Again, the match at All Out was a stunning classic that I did not expect to be as good as it was. And once again, the Acclaimed were so freaking over. I don't think they even got to "Oh, bask in his glory" chant for Keith Lee. We got more of the "Oh, scissor me daddy, oh, scissor me daddy," and it was another fun match. Of course, Keith Lee did two really big spots. First, I believe he did a Hurricanrana, I believe it was, on, I think it was Bowens, And of course, when he did that, Keith Lee, I always say this, every time I think Keith Lee, either after he does something big, or when he's about to do something big, he always, do you remember when Daniel Bryan originally announced his retirement? He mentioned how, anytime he comes out and he gets, all these big, loud chants for him, he can't help but get this little, smile, this little grin on his face. Keith Lee, I feel like, is like that, which, nothing wrong with it. Whenever he's getting ready to do, a big move, like the Hurricanrana, or the moonsault he had hit in this match. They're not taking as long they're not taking as long to cut Keith Lee completely loose on, what all he can do, like he did with when he was in NXT. It took a while for them to let Keith Lee kind of, cut loose, or maybe again, it was just, the fact that him and Dominik Dijakovic just brought out the best in each other, and whatnot. But, I like how, they're not, going too slow with Keith Lee, but they're not going too fast either. But yeah, especially when he hit that Hurricanrana, he has that grin on his face, yeah, I just did that. I know it was pretty cool. I love doing that too. There was a moment though in the match where it looked like Max Caster did hurt his knee, which was concerning at first. But he seemed to, gain the momentum back. And then, of course, as a moment people thought it should happen at All Out, end up happening here. Billy Gunn did get involved, and he did take out Swerve Strickland. And then that led to the Acclaimed hitting their finisher. And there was also a moment, before I get there was also a moment in the match where Swerve went to hit the boom box on one of the members of the Acclaimed. Keep, teasing that, showing how Keith Lee, is, the one who does things right, and Swerve Strickland teasing that he has some more heel tactics underneath him. He was trying to attack one of the members of the Acclaimed with the boom box, but then they ducked out of the way and it hit Keith Lee instead. So they're continuing to tease more and more dissension between Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, which I'm pretty sure by the beginning of 2023, I'm pretty sure they'll finally have the turn in full motion, and probably for Revolution or even maybe Double or Nothing next year, we'll probably see a singles feud between Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. But yeah, the Acclaim do win. Crowd pop for it. The match was great. It wasn't as good as their All Out match. The moment though was spectacular. And again, you remember people say this too. The Acclaim really was not that popular when they first came over. no one was really the biggest fans of them. They are, even though of course they're still, tweeners or whatnot, like, or somewhat baby faces still, but not really. They had to earn the crowd. And they for sure did. So, again, I don't know how long. I don't feel like this reign's going to last too long. I think, it was just more so just about having the moment. But there was a video recently leaked out on the internet of Swerve and Our Glory going to some, school and entertain the kids and whatnot. And obviously showing that they can connect very well with, a younger audience and whatnot. I think at some point they're going to put the belts, they're going to do like a third match, and they're going to have Swerve and Our Glory win the belts back. The Acclaim, aren't really meant to be long-term champions, but they definitely deserved a moment like this. And also, of course, there's still, FTR lurking around as well, as I'm pretty sure whoever's the champions will be facing FTR at Full Gear. Unless they do a triple threat. That could be the case, you never know. Yeah, the Acclaim win with the mic drop from Max Caster on Shane Strickland. And they get the victory. Afterwards, of course, FTR interview backstage. Cash Wheeler says all 4 guys killed it, and congrats to the Acclaimed, but they've been number 1 contenders since April, and they like their shot now. And as rolls up the ass boys, they make fun of them and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. And then we had this interview with Tony Schiavone interviewing Wheeler Yuta. But Yuta couldn't even get started before MJF came out. And this was a prime example of a promo that the guy who everybody loves, even though he's an asshole and is super over, just could not get booed by the crowd no matter what he said. The guy they're supposed to be cheering for in this segment was the one who got booed. And that's Wheeler Yuta. But MJF came out, called himself the devil, and calls the crowd devil worshippers before addressing Wheeler Yuta, saying how he will never get a reaction like he did. Not because he's mid, it's because he's a god to those people, and they adore and worship him. That's not a single man in this arena that wouldn't let him sleep with their wife. The only reason why he doesn't is he has standards. And he just got engaged as well, too. He calls himself a generational talent. And then, of course, Yuta just starts mock-clapping him before admitting that there is some truth to what he says. He's a generational talent, but he also has more catchphrases than friends, and he's a master of low-hanging fruit. He, of course, then brings up MJF's engagement and congratulates him. Says she's a wonderful young lady and smart, maybe a little too smart because she's already figured out what the rest of us know, and that MJF is spineless, worthless piece of human garbage, and she's going to walk out him just like he did on AEW. Burn, but of course the crowd booed him for saying that. MJF, though, says how Yuta has evolved from drawing pain to pet rock on the personality scale, and as he came out here to which Blackpool Combat Club and fighting to be one to lose the title to MJF, which of course refers to the main event between Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson. But you can still ask your members for advice. Like, go to Danielson. Ask how to be injury prone. And when Mox is not there, or to William Regal to learn how to pop pills. Crazy. And then that leads to Wheeler Yuta shoving MJF, and they start brawling. But then MJF headbutts him, then knocks Tony Schiavone over as well. But then Yuta takes him down and starts wailing on him until W. Morrissey, big cast of course, comes out and chokes him out, and MJF clobbers Yuta with the Dynamite diamond ring, and then the security, of course, finally arrives. Again, the problem is with this promo was the fact, again, that nobody wants to boo MJF. Is he basically the biggest heel in the company? Yes. Can he definitely, of course, get a crowd to boo him? Yes. But he's just so popular that you might not want to try, doing this, forced segment where you have a guy like Wheeler Yuta, who is still popular with the crowd, but yet even he can't get MJF booed. I don't think there's any way that you can get MJF booed right now. He's stuck up to authority. He's stuck up for himself. He's cool. Even though he's an asshole, people think he's cool. And honestly, he should get that world title soon. How long he'll hold it for, I don't know. But we'll see. But I think his moment's coming at Full Gear. I'm pretty sure they would not have given him the money they gave him, which I heard they gave him a boatload of money. Because again, he wanted a raise, but he also did not want to extend his contract. What am I thinking now? So we'll see. I still think, though, he right now, for the men at least, he's definitely the biggest draw. So that's why, of course, I also believe that should win the world championship. You also get an interview with Jade Cargill, who says that bitch, and she'll go after the main title on her own. And then Diamante rolls up with Trina in tow, and Jade says she'll see both of them on Friday at Rampage. We also had a match with Orange Cassidy and Pac for the AEW All-Atlantic title. This match was fine. I mean, I look at this match and I just always think back to the match these had one-on-one at Revolution, which I thought was going to be just a pure little filler match, but it ended up being a phenomenal match, and that's the match, of course, that made me a fan of Orange Cassidy. But I thought the match was alright. The strange thing, though, was even though they've been back and forth with booking him as a face, booking him as a heel, his tenure in AEW, they kind of like more so booked Pac as a heel, as he punched him in the face after realizing that nothing he was doing was he was either able to put him down or he just wasn't able to outdo the mind games of Orange Cassidy. Sometimes whenever, of course, he would go up to the top rope, Cassidy would put both of his feet up because he knew, he could, block, the impact of the fall and more so hurt him in return. So Pac wins with like a heel tactic of, kind of covering up, but hitting him with a hammer in the face. We'll wait and see if this continues or not, but yeah, they're starting to tease, another heel turn again for Pac. We'll see where it goes, of course. We then have, let's talk about the women. So we then had the AEW Interim Women's World Title Fatal 4-Way. It's between the four women who took on each other in a tag match last week. Toni Storm, the champion, Athena, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Serena Deeb. And very fresh match, very outstanding. I think, of course, the person who shined the most in this was definitely Athena. Lots better than the match she had with Jade Cargill at All Out. That was not a good match at all whatsoever. I'm sorry. So they had the match, and the match went on pretty good. Of course, the one story here, of course, was, will Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker be able to make up? Well, after the match, Jamie came down, teased that she was going to turn on Britt, but then she sides with her, so I guess for now the tension is over, but I'm pretty sure we're going to come back to it eventually. But then my favorite moment of the night. Oh, God. I cannot tell you. I mean, you can even ask my fiance. I cannot tell you how nuts I went when this happened. How excited I got. Like, this is one of the biggest reasons why I gave the show the grade I gave it, to be honest. So, after the match, Toni Storm won, by the way, with a roll-up, and Britt Baker did get busted open. Afterwards, though, Britt attacks the champ and beats down Toni Storm and Athena. And then Jamie Hayter came out. And it looked like, again, she was going to fully turn on Britt, but it's like, psych, ain't happening yet, as Britt then, of course, started attacking Toni Storm and beating her down. Athena got involved, but then, of course, it was just too much, as it was, again, 3-on-2 at the time. With, of course, Dr. Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and Rebel all, of course, still being around. But then, after that, we hear this song, which I can't remember what it was called now. The person who came out, of course, did post about it. And the person who came out was no one else other than Saraya. Formerly known, of course, in WWE as Paige. The same girl who got me hooked on women's wrestling. The same girl who I think got a lot of people buzzing about the women's revolution. The same girl who was told 4 to 5 years ago, I can't believe it's been that long already, she will never wrestle again. She has made it to AEW. She came out, and again, the crowd went nuts when the Acclaimed won the titles. The crowd went even more crazy, more loud and whatnot, when Saraya came out. I even went nuts too. And I, honest to God, I could say I almost cried when this happened. Well, she came out, she had like a stare down with Britt Baker, Britt stepped out, and then eventually, the babyface did come in and embrace her. Man. Again, Paige. Saraya. Let's just talk about how it is. Why people love this woman so much. She was 21 years old when she got called up to the main roster, and they gave her the Divas title on her first night. Someone that young making a statement like that is going to put a lot of attention on you. Of course, she did have a run with the Divas title until AJ Lee came back. They played a little bit of hot potato with it for a bit. A feud that if we were in the women's generation and not the whole Divas generation, I am still pretty sure to this day. Where was I going with this? Oh man, I drew a complete blank. I'm so sorry. Oh God, I completely blanked out. I'm so sorry. She's the same woman who got me into women's wrestling, Evolution or whatnot. She set so many. Again, like she's young and her talent was recognized so young. And again, she set the example, and I'm going to say this too. Saraya is a draw. And then, of course, we have, she won the Divas title. Oh, yeah, I remember what I was saying. She feuded with AJ Lee, which if that feud was not in the Divas era, that feud could have been something more. I still think AJ and Paige could have had the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match, in my opinion. But then, of course, she had the nagging injuries. Then she had the suspensions for violating the wellness policy. She unfortunately did not have, the best relationship thing with Alberto Del Rio. Kind of glad she got out of that. I'm sorry. Personally, I've never been a fan of Del Rio as a wrestler or as a person in general. Just something about the guy always bothered me. But I definitely did not, feel comfortable for Paige with him. To her neck injury. She went through some stages of depression. To having, those nudes of her leaked on the internet and just embarrassed and whatnot. And then she came back after being gone for a year and a half to huge open arms in 2017. And she started a new stable, Absolution. And I seriously thought that, again, yes, she was a former Divas champion. Yes, she had won she was the first ever NXT Women's Champion. But remember this. In 2017, she was 25 when she came back. She was just scratching the surface of getting into her niche. Like the whole story of her, having like a heel stable with Absolution because, hey, did you forget? I'm the one who started this, not Charlotte, not Becky, not Sasha. Although they were part of it, before them, there was Paige. And that was just the perfect story, the perfect character for her when she came back. And then 2 weeks later, I do not blame Sasha Banks, but unfortunately in a match, she got like a stinger or whatnot, and she was medically disqualified. It was awkward because she went a few months, of her just being out there or whatnot, and just kind of avoiding the subject of her wrestling. But then, of course, I found out it was because she wanted to retire the night after WrestleMania 34, because it would also be the same place where she made her main roster debut. And of course, then the next night she general manager of SmackDown. And then she got removed from that whenever the McMahon said that big lie of, we're not the authority anymore. You are. Liars. But I am still convinced to this day, if she did not get hurt, I think Paige would have went into WrestleMania 34 as Raw Women's Champion. And I also think the plan may have been for her to be the one to end Asuka's streak. You want to give someone else a good rub? It's definitely her. But at 25, well, she was 25 going on 26. So she just turned 30 last month. She's a year older than me. And she retired at 25 years old, just when she was about to get her niche. Just when she was about to do something for best work for sure. And the stuff that could easily make her a Hall of Famer. She has the popularity. She just needed to build up the resume. And of course, the whole thing with WWE want to take away third-party streaming and whatnot. Because there was a podcast where, she basically talked and basically said, I got this taken away from me. I got this taken away from me. It's like everything was being taken away from her. And then she was off TV, didn't do anything for the longest time after she was kicked. They stopped her from being the manager for the Kabuki Warriors. And there's actually rumors, if she would have re-signed with WWE, there was rumors of making her Ronda Rousey's manager. Which, okay, Ronda could use a little more of a mouthpiece. But, like other wrestlers too, came with the issue, people outside of WWE are willing to clear her. Now, I read rumors that some people say that apparently Paige has not been officially cleared to wrestle. But then, Saraya. But then apparently she did post something on Twitter like, don't listen to the dirt sheets. I'll see you on Wednesday and whatnot. And I also think it would be stupid to sign her, bring her out the way they did, introduce her like she's a big star, tease a match with Britt Baker, and for her not to wrestle. But this woman, at 30 years old, after a 4 or 5 year retirement, is going to get that chance. She's going to get that chance to do what WWE did not allow her to do. And I get it. They're probably cautious. Of course, WWE. But you realize how many other wrestling companies are still willing to clear some of these people, even after they suffer like a career-threatening or career-ending injury. How many wrestling companies still have been able to, give options for them to wrestle and clear them? Like, I don't know, even with Triple H taking over, I don't know if Triple H would have ever cleared Saraya to wrestle again. I mean, I heard the rumblings and I was being hopeful maybe she would have returned at this past year's Royal Rumble. But instead, nope, she's off to AEW. And I said this before too, like I said, CM Punk was their biggest draw. I seriously think you do it right, you may have had your newest draw right here. Paige is popular. Saraya is popular. She's super over with the crowd. She's very well loved. People saw her as just this young girl who just made a difference, made an impact at such a young age. She had ups and downs. She had a lot. She had some downs between 2016 and 2017, of course, with her injuries and the drama she had in her life. But again, just knowing how far she's come from that. And of course, how and now she's getting a chance to, perform, to write her story in a company that's going to let her actually wrestle. I am so happy, and I am so excited. And as I keep going to say again, she is easily a hero to me. Yes, I've expressed my interest in how many other women's wrestlers, but none of that would have happened if it wasn't for Saraya. I am so excited to see her here. And I'm very looking forward to seeing what she does. I say, honestly, save her first match for Full Gear. Have it be against Britt Baker. Don't give her this, like, exhibition match against, like, the Bunny or, I don't know, Red Velvet or some... Don't give her, like, a match against a low-card person. A match like this needs a story. This is a simple story of, like, her facing one of the best women's wrestlers today, Britt Baker. The doubts of if she still has it or not, if she's not going to get hurt again or whatnot. That's someone who needs to be brought in and have a big, star performing match. Again, like I said, you wanted a new draw. I think you got it right here with Saraya. She's going to make a huge difference on this women's division. And again, she's only 30 years old. She is going to be awesome. I cannot wait. I'm still jealous that my friend Joe got to meet her a couple years ago. Because a couple years ago, and I think it was around the time where she had to end her career. I think there was a point she was living in Pittsburgh, actually. Because my friend actually ran into her at a bar, and he got to take a photo with her. Oh, God. I've been fortunate enough to use DirectMe to text Deonna Purrazzo a couple times. If I ever had a chance to meet Paige, oh, God, I would do it. Like Paige, Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho, of course. Those are definitely three of the ones I would love to meet right now. Because most of those guys are heroes to me. Keith Lee also, I would say, too. But these people, especially Paige, Saraya, she's a hero to me. She's a hero and she's a draw. And she is all elite, and I cannot wait to see what she does. Everybody again is in awe. We didn't have a video package of Darby Allin traveling with a body bag. He gets into a cab and says he's heading to a funeral at Arthur Ashe. I believe Sting and Sting took on House of Black's Brody King and Buddy Matthews on Rampage, which I'll read as well in a second. And the main event was Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley for the vacated AEW World title. Look, I was one person also who thought that Danielson should have won. They've done, oops, I forgot to put it back to the original graphic. I know that, Moxley, although he's excellent, I don't feel like he is as big of a draw as he could be. But we all know how much Moxley's awesome. And of course, I definitely saw him as a freaking hero. Especially, again, he set the example and set the bar, advising, hey, we've had some drama lately, but, there's still, people who's about making legends and about, making moments and whatnot, and people who actually care about the audience and whatnot, which we needed. And I keep saying this too. I feel like, Moxley has set an excellent example, has written an excellent story ever since he left WWE. He doesn't seem like that type of person, but he truly is. That's the reason why I would love to meet him over, several other people as well. But he ends up winning the match. There was some really great near falls, though. I think Danielson hit the running knee on him he kicked out of. Moxley actually put Danielson in the label lock. He also hit him with a curb stomp as well. I believe there was a time where he hit the Rough Rider, the paradigm shift on Danielson while on the steel ramp and whatnot, and he still kicked out. Heck, he even hit Danielson with the curb stomp and again the Rough Rider, paradigm shift, whatever the heck you want to call it, dirty deeds, and he still kicked out. There was some really good near falls, but then of course it just ended up being who wore the other one down. And then Moxley got on top of Danielson, started wearing him down, got him to pass out. So Moxley, of course, is now a 3-time champ. Danielson gets the Real's face, and they start jawing at each other, but we don't get to see, what happened after that. So I don't know if Danielson was mad he lost or what the heck it was. It was odd, of course, that they just fade out so fast like that. But yeah, we're probably getting Moxley and MJF in a rematch from AEW All Out 2020. And again, like I said, I thought Danielson should have won the match, but I also know that the person who should be world champion by now is definitely MJF. So maybe it was better for Moxley, a guy who knows how to, even if he's still, a babyface, he still knows how to, get people that type of heat. Basically, he can be the de facto heel for sure. But yeah, I think I think it's going to be okay. And I think he's a better person right now for MJF to dethrone, because Bryan Danielson could be someone, of course, to dethrone MJF someday, of course, as well. And that's how we went off of the air for the Dynamite version. For the Rampage version, really quick here, Sting and Darby Allin beat House of Black. Afterwards, Matthews attempted to use the bat on Sting, but then, of course, the Great Muta, wherever he is, came out and sprayed mist in his eyes. Then Buddy then bumped into Julia Hart and knocked her through a table, and Sting and Muta hugged after the match. Hook and Action Bronson defeated Angelo Parker and Matt Menard. Good, they suck. Samoa Joe and Wardlow beat Tony Nese and Josh Woods. Even after Wardlow powerbombed Mark Sterling several times. Jungle Boy beat Ray Phoenix. And apparently Christian Cage returned, which I was surprised. I thought he had surgery, unless if he's just there in a sling. I didn't get to watch the actual show. Luchasaurus then would attack Jungle Boy. We're probably going to get in that match, of course, first, long before we get the match with Jungle Boy and Christian Cage. The Jericho Appreciation Society also announced the appreciation event for Dynamite for Chris Jericho winning the Ring of Honor World Title. Sam Guevara and Eddie Kingston had a match that Eddie originally submitted Sammy, but he wouldn't let go of the hold, and the call ended up being reversed on him. Ouch. And then the main event was the Golden Ticket Battle Royale match, and Hangman Adam Page won. Other participants in the match were The Butcher, The Blade, Dark Order, Private Party, Danhausen, Dante Martin, Penta El Zero Miedo, Brian Cage was in the match, Ari Daivari, Lance Archer, Daniel Garcia, Cole Carter, Best Friends, Jake Hager, Dalton Castle, Lee Moriarty, Matt Hardy, and Jay Lethal. And again, Hangman Adam Page won. Hangman and Mox would be an excellent match, of course, to do. And the main event, yes, Ricky Starks beat Powerhouse Hobbs in a lights out match on Rampage. So, it doesn't sound too bad. I mean, I didn't watch, but, didn't sound too bad either. But I gave this show an A-. Again, we had some matches that were good, not quite as good as they were previously, but the ones that were good were really, really, really good. And, of course, the moments as well, such as, again, of course, the Acclaim win the titles, Moxley becoming the first ever 3-time champ. And, of course, the biggest news of Grand Slam this week was definitely the signing of Saraya. Which, again, I am just so happy to see her here. And with that being said, guys, I'm going to check out here. I'm going to take a shower. And if I'm still, if I get a second wind or a third wind at this point, I will continue on and try to get at least 4 videos done tonight. But if not, I'll see you guys probably tomorrow at some point. So, guys, once again, what are your guys' thoughts on AEW Grand Slam? I gave this show an A-. What are your thoughts also on Saraya appearing in AEW as well and signing with the company? Make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure, as always, to slap a like on the video, subscribe for more content on my channel, follow me on Twitter as well at DemandAirboy93. Until then, guys, I am checking out. I'll catch you all later. Have a great rest of your night, and peace out, everybody.